Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Volume 9, Chapter 7 of RWBY. And once again, this has been hyped up by the crew and everyone behind it, and I really don't like this. I really don't like that they're doing that. I don't remember them doing that for previous volumes. I might be wrong, but I don't remember them doing it for previous volumes. But they've been really like hyping up episodes and, setting our expectations, which I don't like. Even if the episodes end up still being great, it's like I just don't like them doing that. And it's definitely not as bad as the last one was, or even chapter 4. Those two definitely had a lot more issue in regards to that, but it still happens again. And it's like, just stop. Just stop. Please just stop. But I also want to address the last reaction. And I want to apologize again for how I reacted to things and how I went off the deep end. I mentioned I was already angry last week when I got to the episode. I was already upset at other things that had happened that day. And I unfortunately took that anger out on camera. I went into full rage mode, and it brought me to a point that I really regret. And I regretted it almost instantly, and that led me into a really big bout of depression that luckily I was able to get past thanks to just watching some stuff. And that usually tends to help me. Watching some stuff that I know will lighten my mood. But I went really bad on it. And here's the thing. I still kind of stand by what I said and everything. I still don't like that the RWBY did this and all. I don't like that they were hyping it up this bad. And I also don't like how the fandom has handled the entire Bumblebee situation over the years, and how it felt like the crew needed to do this in order for a lot of the fandom to understand that they're together. But as I also said last time, I did love the episode. And on rewatches, I've actually loved it even more. Like the actual scene is handled in a very good way, and it kind of builds the idea that they both have definitely fallen in love with each other at that point in Volume 6, but they just never admitted it. They never opened up and said the words. And I can get behind how the RWBY handled it. That I have no issue. It's just, again, it's just the fandom's responses over the years that just bothered me. And with the fact that I was already really upset, I blew up. And I apologize greatly for that. You guys did not deserve for me to go that hard. And it did, I feel, hurt the reaction too. Because I just feel like it should have been a much happier, better reaction. So I really want to make it clear that I apologize, and I was in the wrong for taking that anger out in the way that I did. It was extremely unhealthy, and I'm sorry. But we learned a lot of other stuff last week too. We learned that Alex was kind of a piece of shit. That she had a brother who is more than likely either dead or ascended. And if he is ascended, who or what is he now? And on top of that, RWBY got Crescent Rose back, but doesn't seem happy about it. She kind of disassociated for a moment, probably thinking back to everything that had happened, all of her pain and mistrust and lack of hope, as well as thinking back to specifically when she met the blacksmith. There's definitely shit that's going to keep going down in these next episodes. it's very clear it's really going to get heavier, and Ruby's going to have to deal with a lot, I feel. And one of the things I'm thinking is going to happen is I'm thinking that Ruby's going to find out what Jean did. That Penny asked him to end her life, and Ruby's going to snap. I'm because that's one thing that they have not talked about yet, and that has to be brought up. That's too big of a deal. It's got to be brought up that Jean was the one who killed Penny this time around. I think Ruby's going to snap, and I think she's going to. I think she's going to say some really bad things to Jean. That's what I'm thinking. If that even happens, mind you. I presume it's probably going to. This is definitely what, there's a word for it, and I can't remember the word. The opposite of a redemption arc. Corruption arc, that's what it is. This is a corruption arc for Ruby for sure. Like I've said before, she's got to get worse before she gets better. I thought the rock bottom was going to hit before now, but I don't think it has yet. And I'm a little concerned how she's going to jump back up at the end here, but what if she doesn't? What if they come back? What if they go back to their world and she's not recovered yet? The RWBY could very much be going that route. Like, what if, at least partially for the next volume, RWBY ends up being the bad guy? That could be an interesting route they could take. Like, RWBY becomes so disillusioned, so angry, so lost for hope, that she actually becomes a bad guy. Not a villain, but an antagonist for sure. Even if just for a short time. I could kind of see that happening. I hope it doesn't. But it's possible. Because after this, there's only like 3 more episodes. So they've got... it feels like it's not enough time. Because you have to also have a confrontation with Neo. They have to get out in the first place. It's like, there's still so much, I feel there's so much left to do. I don't see how she can have her complete fall and rise again in just 4 episodes, including this one. I don't know. And is she going to end up using a different weapon at some point? That's kind of been hinted at. I also want to mention, just before we begin, I didn't watch the opening last week, and I only found out afterwards that the opening changed to show, instead of the Rusted Knight, it showed Sean's face. I didn't think they were going to do that, so I didn't bother watching the opening, but I did find that out. So we are going to be watching the opening. Maybe it'll show Alex in a new light this time, now that we've known about her darkness. And I don't know, maybe there will be something regarding Bumblebee in there. But yeah, either way, we're going to get this started and see how this episode turns out. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we're back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. And I thought I was depressed last week. This is the fall. This is the rock bottom. It happened later than I was expecting. There's 3 episodes left. It's possible for RWBY to find hope again within those 3 episodes. It's gonna be tough though to deal with Neo to find hope, and I don't know. We'll just have to see, I guess. But I expected Jean and RWBY to snap at each other. I expected this just loss of control from both of them. RWBY was already on the tipping point. Jean very clearly was not doing great. We could see that last episode. It's something that was without question going to happen, and I honestly had no question that it was going to happen this episode specifically. And we got to see very, very specifically how lonely and afraid and worthless Sean has felt. Not just with everything that happened back home, but with Alex and Lewis, and how he has forced himself to try and be the hero for once, to, for the first time, actually, in his eyes, help people. So he to be the hero, he had to ignore what they wanted. He saw what had happened before with Alex and Lewis and just kind of assumed something that he didn't truly know, and used it and convinced himself he was right to subjugate others. And mind you, like, it's very clear they're the type that are fine with helping and serving others. But the way he was using them and all, it's clear that they weren't comfortable with it. That it's not what they wanted. They wanted to ascend. Their purpose was completed and they wanted to ascend. Jean was so convinced that it would mean death for them. He didn't want to let anyone else die because of the trauma of Penny, the trauma of Pyrrha, the trauma of Atlas as a whole. He wanted to save someone for once. He wanted to feel like he matters. And RWBY blames herself. All of this pain, all of this sorrow, the same kinds of traumas that Jean's carrying, she carries because she feels she is responsible for everything that happened. It didn't take Jean blaming her for her to feel that. She definitely felt that the entire time. And with the loss of hope and everything seeming more and more hopeless, finding out the story, not knowing who to trust, RWBY snapped, and she couldn't take it anymore. She snapped at those she genuinely loves. And I don't think Weiss, Blake, Yang, I don't think they blame her. I think they feel sorry for her, that they're sad for her. Like, yeah, it definitely hurt Blake and Yang with how she reacted to their being together and everything now. But you know that they don't blame her. You know that they understand. They're on her side. They love her. These are two very broken individuals who cannot get better without help. And in real life, that would require the likes of going to a psychiatrist, getting therapy, and just having friends and family be there for you. And I don't think therapy is really an option here in the world of Remnant at the moment, or here in the Ever After. But luckily, there are loved ones here who can help them. RWBY and Jean are both in need of serious help. RWBY is so afraid, so has this deep feeling of unworthiness, She feels like she's betrayed the idea of what a huntress is and has only hurt people more than helped them. Sean feels worthless. He feels like he hasn't done anything to live up to the ideals of a huntsman in his mind. He got one chance while being trapped here for well over a decade, maybe even 2 decades. He finally has a chance to be a hero, and his loneliness, his pain, his trauma overwhelms his sense of what's right. He forces himself to believe in something that might not be true. That we just don't know what it means exactly. And we don't know what happened to Alex and Lewis. He assumes a lot. This is the breaking point episode. This is the rock bottom episode. Hopefully that means we can only go up from here. Speaking as someone who's been there too, as someone who's hit rock bottom, as someone who's tried to kill myself, I was very, very, very afraid that Jean or Ruby would end up being suicidal in this episode. Once they started arguing, I saw a lot of myself in there, and I was genuinely worried one of them was going to say something along the lines of, I would be better off dead. If that had been said, I would have broken. Like, I'm already starting to cry now just thinking about it. I've been there. I know the depression, the pain, the misery, the feeling of uselessness, the trauma they're going through. I understand what it feels like to not feel like I've contributed anything, to not feel like I'm worth anything, to feel like everybody around me is achieving so many great things and I'm just not. I know what it's like to feel like something I've done has only hurt people rather than helped. I know what these two are going through. Maybe not the exact specifications, but I understand their pain. And it's why it's one of the biggest reasons I don't blame them. And I hope no one else does either. They're not at fault here. They're in pain and they need help. They need love. They don't need to be blamed. They don't need to be looked down on. They don't need to be argued with, debated, fought against. They fucking need a hug. If anything, they need warmth and love. And it's not an end-all be-all solution. It's not a perfect fix. That trauma's gonna stay with them. It's not gonna be resolved. My traumas, my pains, my depression sticks with me. I still have it. And I have moments, I have days, I have weeks where I'm in a very bad place. And it's always going to be like that. I have to actively work to make myself feel better. Whether it's making myself record something for you guys, whether it's making myself watch something that I know will cheer me up, even if just temporarily, going out and hanging out with friends, doing something like going to a convention. This is the kind of stuff that helps me. Some people may find it frivolous, but without it, I would not be here right now. It's literally this kind of stuff that saved my life in the first place. That stopped me from killing myself back in 2015. This is the stuff that whenever I feel at my worst, I go to, I seek. Because it's therapy to me. It may not make sense to everyone, but it works for me. And it may be temporary, but I just have to keep moving on. I'm going to feel pain. I'm going to feel sorrow. Everyone will. We just have to keep moving on. And we need to be there for everyone else who's going through this. And hope that they'll return the favor and be there for us. We need to act as a giant support group. And sometimes that's easier said than done. Sometimes it's hard to support others when you're going through so much shit. It's very hard. I've seen other people struggle with depression, and I sometimes want to tune it out. Because I'm afraid that I'll slip into it because of being around other people who are in it. That I'll face that trouble because I'll be around that trouble. I'm scared sometimes. But if someone comes to me for help and asks me to help, I can't turn them away. Because what if I asked someone for help and I was turned away? What would that do to me? I can't do that to someone else. Right now, Weiss, Yang, Blake, they need to be there for both of these babies. It's going to be hard, and Ruby and John are probably going to yell again. They're probably going to get upset again. They might even straight up try to fight them. But this needs to happen. It makes me think of, and partially because I watched it with my sister earlier today, it makes me think of Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's not naivety. It's not a lack of understanding to just be kind. It doesn't mean you have to ignore all the problems. It doesn't mean you have to ignore all the issues. But kindness can go a long way. If we just all be kind to each other, we can help each other through these problems. It's our way of fighting. It's our way of dealing with it. It's a survival method. It's not naivety. It's not stupidity. It's not just being unprepared or anything. Kindness is strength. And so I want to make it clear, if anyone who's watching this ever is going through anything, if anyone in this community is ever going through anything, please say something. We'll be there for you. I want to foster this community into a support group, into just this gathering of people who can just be there for each other. And that's why I continue to be so open and honest, even when it hurts, even when I'm revealing stuff about myself that others might try to hide. I want to be open and honest because I want others to feel safe to do so with me. And it's hard. It's really fucking hard. But we can get through this together. No matter what it is, we can. So again, if you ever have anything that you need to talk about, just say something. And I'm not great at talking through things. I'm not. But I will give forth effort. I will do my best. And I will listen, if nothing else. I will be there for you. Because I may not know most of you in person. There may be a couple people who watch this channel who I do know in person, but I may not know most of you in person. But I care about you, all of you. I love you. And I genuinely mean I love you. Because I don't need to know you to know that. I don't need to have met you in person to know that. To know that you deserve love. To know that you deserve to be here. And that any mistakes you and I make don't define us. It's what we do after making mistakes that define us. And even if something has defined us in the past, we can change for the better. Just please don't be afraid to be open with others. As long as the others that you're open with, you know you can be safe with. And we should just continue to be there for each other. So, thank you all so much for watching. And again, if you ever need to just talk, even just to vent and trauma dump, please feel free. I am a safe place for you to do that. Thank you. I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.